Good morning. Welcome back to Coffee and Colorful Conversation. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone is having an amazing Wednesday and a great start to your middle of the week hump day. I wanted to pick up where we left off last week. Last week we talked about feeling the results of a crazy year and a half, getting put in a collective timeout, having to change the way that we do all the things in the salon. And hopefully I'm live. I go through this every week where I wonder if I'm talking to myself. So I'm just double checking on here. Yes, I see myself. Good. So I wanted to pick up where we left off because I just got started on all of the pain points of what we went through in 2020 and most of 2021, feeling isolated, feeling lonely, feeling like we couldn't be social, we couldn't hug people. We had to behave completely different in our salons where we had to really distance ourselves and physically and emotionally, and everybody was afraid to be near everybody. It was really awful, but I didn't want to leave you with all of the gloom and doom and the negative. I wanted to pick up on this week's chat with what are we going to do about it? So yesterday I had the pleasure of going live with my dear friend Joe Santi in the Olaplex users group to invite everyone to the amazing event that starts tonight that we talked about last week, my Revive and Reboot event, 3-day event. And he starts his Tuesdays with Joe with a quote, which I love. And the quote that he said he thought of me when he saw it. And I love that. And I love the quote. It's something I never heard. And I wanted to start today's chat with this quote. The best math that you can learn is how to calculate the future cost of your current decisions. Think about that. First of all, I hate math, so it's easy math. The best math you can calculate is the future cost of your current decisions. I talked about in several coffee chats how Michael Cole very simply taught us in the 80s that if we just saved $5 a day in our tips, but by the time we retire, we would be guaranteed to have $1 million in the bank. Back then, $1 million was like what $1 billion is right now. Right now, $1 million really isn't that much with how expensive everything has gotten. But the simple habit of putting that $5 a day away, no matter what, giving up that extra latte, giving up that whatever you spend. If you're a smoker, you spend more than that on a pack of cigarettes. So our decisions right now are affecting our future, and we're not thinking about it that way. So yes, COVID and the pandemic and all of the crap that came with it truly sucked the big one. I mean, it sucked entirely. There was not a whole lot good that came out of it. However, I see a lot of good that you may not be seeing. And that's what I wanted to share with you both today in the coffee chat. And I hope you're joining me tonight for the kickoff of Revive and Reboot, because that's the theme of the 3-day event. It's free. So the cost for this quote today to resonate with you, what is the cost of you not showing up going to be 2 years from now? There's going to be, I promise you, a nugget that's shared tonight that if you don't hear it, if you don't experience it, 2-3 years down the road, you're going to have a different place in your career, financially, emotionally. There's going to be a different you down the road for having missed that opportunity. So when someone offers you something free and all you have to do is click a button to show up, why would you risk the ramification 2-3 years from now on wondering, what did I miss? How could my life have been different? One of my favorite movies I share often, and right now it's probably hard to even get on Netflix or however you watch your movies because it's so old, but it's called Sliding Doors. If you haven't watched it and you're in a funk right now and you're like wrestling with a decision, watch that movie. It's not an Academy Award winning, Oscar nominated. It's not that kind of movie. It's one of those movies that makes you rethink the way that you handle your life and the way you make decisions, because while we think it's no big deal, whether or not, you get invited out, you're tired, you're like, oh, I really just want to lay around in my PJs and watch a movie. But My friends are really pushing for me to go out. Those are the stories that I hear all the time when I meet couples here in Florida. We'll be at a restaurant and we'll be having, drinks at the bar with a group of friends, and someone next to us will be like this fun, happy couple. And I'll say, tell me your story. How did you meet? And I swear to you, 9 times out of 10, the story is that either the guy or the woman did not want to go out that night, did not want to go wherever it was that they met, and something pushed them to go, and they went, and of course they met their significant other, their soulmate, their, amazing partner in life, and because they pushed themselves to go out. So if you're in a funk right now, I get it, we all are, but there's days, I'll jump on my Instagram and say, I did not want to go exercise today. I was telling myself every reason not to do it. And I live by the Mel Robbins 5-4-3-2-1. If you're not familiar, check out Mel Robbins. She simply says, you don't want to do it. That's a fact. It's okay. But just count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath and do whatever it is you were trying to talk yourself out of. And most times that works for me. There are some times where I'm still like, you know what, Mel, I'm not feeling it. She also says, look in the mirror every morning and give yourself a high five and say, you're awesome. They sound silly, but it can shift your, did you ever get in a funky mood and you walk into the salon and then all of a sudden 5 people are in that mood because your energy shifted everybody that you walked past. You have that, you're walking in with your coffee, you're like, oh, I'm tired, I don't feel like being here. And then all of a sudden every staff member is feeling the same way because your energy rubbed off on them. So why not take that funk, show up at this fun event, and hear from my guests, from me and my guests. Tonight I have Christina Russell. If you're not familiar with Christina Russell, she is this bubbly, beautiful, fun. We've met through social media. She lives in Australia, the other side of the globe. We've never physically met in person, and I consider her a dear friend. She is fun. She's up for anything. I reach out to her last minute. I'm like, hey, I'm doing this thing. Can you pop on live? She's always up for it. I've been on her podcast. She's been on my podcast. If you don't listen to her podcast, it's awesome. I think it's called Christina Colors or Colorful Christina. She'll tell you tonight, but she's my guest tonight. So how many opportunities do you have to be in a live training with a wonderful educator from Redken? She used to be on the Redken ambassador team. I don't know if she still is, but she has educated all over the world at hair shows, and she is an absolute rock star with redheads. I am totally a wimp with redheads. I just did a red model for my Hair Color Secrets Insider recently, and that was like a big bold red for me. And if you looked at the picture and you do a lot of reds, you would say, oh, that's a pretty natural looking copper red. But it's just not my forte. What happens is, I don't know if you realize, and maybe this will make you think about it when you go in the salon today, but think about your clientele. My clientele of 35 years, a lot of them look a lot like me. They have a base color, multi-dimensional highlights, usually my length hair, the beach waves, the same style as me, the same length as me. People gravitate to what they like to look at. So if they like my hair, they're thinking, oh, I want to go to her because I like her hair, but I didn't do my hair. So it's kind of funny. But I noticed like my colorist that worked alongside of me for years and years, she lives in that reddish brown. Sometimes she'll go bolder red. Other times she'll have caramely highlights. But her clientele is more reddish brown, browns, brunettes, multidimensional brunettes. She doesn't have as many blondes as I did. Now she does because she has most of my clientele. But pay attention to that, So if you haven't changed your hair in forever and you're trying to attract a new clientele, think about changing your color. Because when you're out at the supermarket or Starbucks or wherever you are, people will stop you and say, oh my gosh, I love your color, to which you say, come see me, and you hand them a card with the gift of, $25 gift card. So it's easy like that if you keep up and change, which I never did. So I enjoyed doing women who look like me and who are my age. So I was happy with the way that my look translated into a clientele. But some of the things I'm going to share with you tonight are how to use technology to make your life simpler. So a lot of us, especially in my age bracket, a lot of my members in my group tend to be close to my age because they relate to me and the way that I teach and all of that. Not so much, the new right out of school 19 and 20-year-olds. I wish that I attracted more of them because they need me for formulation. But it is what it is. And my audience is a little hesitant with social media. They think that they're too old to do Instagram or too old to do TikTok, which I still feel like I'm a little too old to do that. But I just started doing Reels because I had to. I was looking at my Instagram metrics and I'm like, why is my follower count still the same after a year? I've been doing Instagram for at least 5 years consistently, posting every single day. I even have a virtual assistant managing my Instagram account and making sure she posts every single day. And the needle's not moving. So I'm like, I'm being one of those people that's like, I'm so frustrated. It's not changing. What's going on? I don't understand it. And I'm like, okay, obviously I'm not up to date because I don't pay enough attention to Instagram. So I sat in on a class with a panel that was all about growing your Instagram. And they said point blank, Instagram will teach you what they want at any given time. I thought I was doing great when I figured out how to do the side-by-side before and afters. That's old school now. That's out. Nobody wants to see the side-by-side before and afters. Now you have to video the before, video the after. I see my friend Johnny's on here. We were cracking up. I did the model at his beautiful salon here in St. Pete, and we're trying to get hip on the Reels. So he and I'm like, Johnny, don't let me forget to do a picture of her putting her head forward and throwing it back so I can make a reel. And it's funny for us because we weren't brought up this way. We're the 20-somethings. They're constantly making reels while you're eating dinner. They're doing it about everything. So I had to adapt. So now I go into my Instagram metrics, and something that, normally in a traditional, here's the before, here's the after, I would get maybe 50 likes. That was like a big day to get 50 likes, which is nothing in the world of social media where people have, bajillion followers. But my reels, I'm looking at my insights right now. So the reels that I shared have thousands of views because it automatically goes into, it gets pushed out by Instagram. So I did, my first reel was 693 views. The second was 831. The third was 848. The next one was 1,056. And the most recent one that I did is 1,330. So shame on me for not doing it sooner. I always, wait, and I'm like, oh, I see these other educators doing it. I'm like, oh, she's too old to be doing that. She's making an idiot out of herself, and I'm rolling my eyes. But then they have 25,000 Instagram followers, and they have the swipe up feature. And I'm like, God, I just want the swipe up feature so that when I invite you to something, you can just swipe up and click. Where now, because I have so few followers, I have to say, go to my link in the bio. It's giving you another step. It's giving you more homework that you have to do. And let's face it, people's attention span is this big. They just want to be able to go click and be in. So I am adapting at 54 years old. It's never too late for you. So if you're having boring staff meetings, if you're having product knowledge classes at your salon, whether it's you or your owner doing it to you, I'm going to talk about that, how to get out of that funk, because nobody wants to sit through another boring product knowledge class where they go, this is, the projectant in here is, safe for the environment, and it comes out in a micro encapsulated. No, I want to know that this product, which I love, by the way, shout out to Gary Cole. He sent me this and I freaking love it. It's dry shampoo and volume powder. So it's not like your traditional dry shampoo where you're like, ooh, my hair's so dirty, I need to get the oil out. But look at how I can do this right now. I can pick up my hair. Like if you're taking photographs of before and afters, like Johnny and I were just trying to do desperately on my model, and I don't do it very well. I'm trying to take a class, but look at how I can do that because of this. It's a dry shampoo. You know how sometimes hairspray gets very cobwebby and it'll do what you want it to do, but it looks like almost like, look at that. That compared to that in a photograph, big difference. So anyway, off track rabbit as usual, but I don't want that kind of product knowledge class where they talk about it having extracts of boysenberry and the fragrance is lavender rose hips. I don't care. I want to know what I just showed you, that if I squirt this in my hair, I'm not going to have greasy roots. I'm going to have lots of volume, and I'm going to be able to do this on a humid day. I'm going to be able to zhuzh and pull my hair out and make myself look like I have more hair and take a better picture. That's what I want to know. So look how quick I showed you that. I don't need to give up time with my kids to go in early or stay late for a meeting or a class to find out that that's awesome. I want it in my hands, and I want a quick 1-minute video, and I'm going to share with you in our event the next 3 days how you can record it, how you can share it, and how to use technology to your advantage. And I promise you, if you're having problems recruiting staff, I'm going to share ideas on that too. There's a new way to recruit staff. You no longer say, hey, I'm hiring, do you know anybody? There are platforms that do it for you. And that's their job, to reach out to all the newly licensed people, so you don't have to worry about all those painful interviews. We do the first interview virtually now. I'm going to talk about that. So you have to come to this event. You have absolutely everything to lose by not coming and nothing to lose by coming. If you show up and it's not interesting to you, go away. I showed up for the psychic event last night. In my area, there's a girl who does virtual readings on a Facebook evening thing at 8 o'clock. It was last night at 8 o'clock, and I went on. I had never shown up before, so I didn't know how she did it. And I went on right at 7:59 because I wanted to get picked to have my reading. And it was saying host will let you in, host will let you in. And I was like, she's either running late or I'm not doing this right. So I went onto the Facebook group, and I could see that she was on there. And she started talking, and then what I realized is you have to stay waiting on Zoom, and then they take one person at a time. I had assumed we were going to be in a gallery, because a lot of those things you can see everybody, and then the person that's getting read gets pinned forward. She doesn't do it that way. So now I know if I go again, but it wasn't interesting. Like the readings were like, oh, you know, you lost your mom and she misses you so much. No shit. You know, like if you lost your mom, she's going to miss you. You're going to miss her. So I was not impressed. And I left. So if you show up tonight and it doesn't impress you, leave. And then you'll get an email from me saying, hey, this is what you missed. And then you can watch the replay or not. But if you don't show up and you don't sign up, 2 years from now, when you see somebody blowing by you and doing better than you, and you're comparing yourself to them, it just may be that they showed up for this event and you didn't. That's sometimes the difference. And back to that movie, Sliding Doors, there have been things that I have, you know, really pushed to go to. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the time. I didn't have what I needed to go. If you have my book and you know my story, my life changed when I got on an airplane for the first time at 19 years old on my dime. You can imagine how poor I was at 19, right out of beauty school. You have no money. I had to pay my own car insurance, my own health insurance. I had all of those bills. And this hair show popped into my hands in a magazine, because we're talking about, you know, 1986. And I just felt that feeling in my body that I needed to be at this show. I was like, this is what I need. I need to be there. And everybody tried to talk me out of it. My mom, my dad, my family. Are you crazy? You're 19 years old. You're getting on a plane. But I had never been on an airplane. My family traveled in cars. That's a whole other story, a whole other book too. But I sat in the salon and looked around and was like, I have nobody on my book. And when I do, I'm terrified to color them. If they ask me for color, I literally feel like I'm going to poop my pants. My stomach drops like I'm on a roller coaster. I'm starting to sweat. I'm like, how can I talk this client out of color? Because I really don't know what I'm doing. And the person that I worked for wasn't the right mentor for hair color. He was an amazing friend. He was like a dad to me. I still love him dearly to this day. But he was not what I needed as someone who loved hair color and wanted to master all things color. So I pushed myself, and I was terrified taking a taxi to the airport. I was terrified in the airport trying to figure out where was my gate? Where do I put my luggage? How do I check in? How do I, this was before passports and all of that kind of travel. This was just, having your driver's license and checking in, but it was all brand new, but I did it anyway. And to this day, it's 2021. That was 1986. Had I not gone to that show, I would not be sitting here talking to you right now, telling you that I teach hair color and that I change lives through confidence in hair color. I have hundreds of testimonials of people who write to me and say, you saved my career, you changed my life. I was ready to quit. And when you gave me that math equation and you explained formulation so simply, now I just look over at the shelf and I'm like, I got this. I know what her natural level is. I know where she's going. I know how to get her there. I know how to prevent warmth, and I know how to mix it up. That is everything to me. And that is what this event is about. This is a high energy, uplifting, fun. We're not going to boo-hoo and sit in our crap in our diapers and complain about everything that happened in 2020 and 2021. We're going to talk about how to move forward. Christina, my guest tonight, is in her second lockdown. Australia's locked down again. I was talking to Cherie Noble last night in Australia. She's frustrated. She's an amazing, amazing colorist, educator, and human being. We're working on having her participate in Revival. Fingers crossed. I'm so thrilled to add her to our roster. I look up to her. I love her blonding. She's absolutely amazing. She was in a funk being on lockdown again. So we have to lift each other up and look at the positive and stop sitting in the crap of what happened, what was. It sucked. Absolutely sucked. And that's just a fact. But it's pick yourself up and move on. You can't stay in the overwhelm of where do I even begin to pick up the pieces. We just had a storm that, it affected New Jersey and Philadelphia. It had tornadoes. There was a hurricane that affected Pennsylvania. When has that ever happened? I lived in Pennsylvania for 51 years. That's, I don't think, to my knowledge, has ever happened. People got the front of their house ripped off, and you can see in their houses all the damage, and they're displaced, and they have nowhere to live. That's a big problem. Us having to wear a mask and having to do less clients in a day, I mean, in relation to getting the front of your house ripped off or losing your life, it's really not that big of a deal. So it's all mindset. And we're going to talk about mindset and how to get yourself out of that funk. And it's going to be so much fun. And all you have to do is sit there. You can join, if your husband's watching football, which is what happens in my life. And I'm like, I'm not watching this, but I want to sit with him. I can sit on my phone and be in this event and be present. And I can comment and do everything from my phone. So there's no excuse. Unless you live in the middle of nowhere and there's no internet, you can come to this event. So I already put the link in the heading of this chat. Let me see if I have a way to add a comment. I don't think that I do, but. Yeah, when I'm live on Facebook now, for some reason, I can't comment on my own feed, but it is in the title of this post. And it's my website, Expert Color Solutions with an S. So www.expertcolorsolutions.com/revive-reboot. If somebody's on here live and you can type that into the comments, I will love you forever. So share that. And I'm sorry, I can't really see. I just see a lot of good mornings. I want to make sure there's not a question. So Suzanne said, what time, where to sign up? So it starts this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And to sign up, you want to click that link I just shared. So expertcolorsolutions.com/ /revive, REVIVE-reboot. So that is the link. When you click on that, it will take you to where to go tonight. And you're going to get just a simple link to click, and then you just show up. I really got my hair a little crazy with my zhuzh lesson. But that's another example. I get in a funk where I love the products that I'm using. I've been using the same thing on my face for like 15 years. The same cream, the same cleanser, the same everything. And I'll go and get a facial. And of course, they try to sell me every single product. And I buy every single product and I get them home. And then I'm like disappointed. I start to break out where I don't have those issues, or I get super oily or whatever. And I'm like, why did I switch? I'm going back to my tried and true. And one of the models that I did doing content for my membership brought me a little goodie bag of samples. She managed all of the Ulta locations. So how weird that she signed up to be my model. We didn't know each other. She's here in St. Pete. She sat in my chair. Johnny got to hear the conversation about, you know, what she does and how it works with Maria. Thank you, but you're missing a dash. It's Revive dash, that little dash mark in the middle, Revive dash Reboot. Okay, hold on. Now the comment thing just popped up, so I'm able to do that. I'm going to keep doing that. So she brought me samples from a product called it's SKY something. It's like something from Iceland. And it's this little dropper. And I'm like, oh, another serum that's not going to work. And the other night I was like, you know what the hell? I'll try it. She gave it to me. I have nothing to lose. And I put a couple drops on my palm and I did this. And I just kind of patted it on my head. Like I get real wrinkly up in here in my forehead from making all these crazy faces. So I did it up in here and I went under my eyes and went like this. And I woke up, Lucy, you spelled reboot wrong. You have REBUTE. Let me take that off so people don't click that. So I woke up and my skin was like happier and plumper and, you know, wasn't looking as dry. It felt good. It didn't feel like, you know, where you feel like your face is so dry. So I'm like, hey, that's a great thing. Gary gave me this, and that's why I tried it, because I love dry shampoo. And a little tip for dry shampoo is, you know, we traditionally use dry shampoo when our hair is already oily, but I like to use it as a preventive and a volume booster. When I have my hair clean, like I'm doing a photo shoot soon, I will have one day dirty hair. I will never have clean hair for a photo shoot. When I get on live to do my revival event, I will have one day old dirty hair. I will not have clean hair because my clean hair is just like this. It won't do anything. It won't hold a curl. That's my clean hair. And then my dirty hair, I can get nice and big. I do my little thing with the front, and then I feel like I have volume and it does something. So the reason that I do that is my former favorite dry shampoo is Blow, BLOW. It's in that turquoise bottle, and it's actual powder that you squeeze and it goes poof, you know, with all this powder. So the one thing I didn't love about that is how white it can be. Like it can get really white if I overdo it. Where this is a spray, it doesn't come out white, and I can use it as both a volumizing spray to give texture and also at the root for the oil absorption. So use your dry shampoo before you go to bed. The night before, when you feel like your hair's gonna be a little dirty in the morning, put that dry shampoo in at your roots, go to bed, you wake up in the morning, you recurl it, and awesome, perfect. Suzanne, I don't know why, I'm gonna give you the link right in this reply to your thing. I don't know if that went through. Just click right on that and it should go through. I know Donna Hogg was having a problem doing it from her phone. So it could be that you need to be on your computer. It could be a cookie thing. It could be something that your phone is trying to keep you from spam or something. But that should work. So reach out if it doesn't, and I'll try to help you figure that out. So now I'm clicking all kinds of buttons. I almost hung up on myself. So thank you for listening. People are asking about time zones. That's something that is so simple. You literally talk into your phone. I just did it last night because I'm trying to figure out for Cherie what time to have her on Revival where it's not 3 a.m. for her in Australia. And I literally talk to Siri and I say, what time is it in Australia right now? What time is it in Australia when it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? Like, that's easy, guys. I can't sit here and put every single time zone, but just know that it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're in the West Coast, it would be 5 p.m. for you. If you're Chicago, it would be Central Time. I think that's an hour difference. But just know your time zone and just type into a Google search, convert Eastern Standard Time to blank, whatever your time zone is. So it's live. It's fun. You have to be live to qualify for prizes. I have great prizes that you're not going to want to miss, and you do need to be there live for that. So if we spin the wheel and call your name and you're not there, we move on to the next person. So there's going to be a really big prize, hint, hint, for people who attend live every single night, and we know that they stayed on the entire time. You're going to be in a smaller pool of people on a smaller amount of names on the wheel for a really big prize. So just throwing that out there. I hope to see you all tonight, tomorrow, and the next night. And let's just lift each other up and let's get moving with our future, and learn that math on calculating what it's costing you, what your current decisions are costing you. And your homework is to watch Sliding Doors. I hope you do. It's a great movie. I also watched a German version that was pretty crazy too. So I will see you all tonight. Thanks for watching.